Good morning. I'm higher vibrations, and so are you. There's a lot happening right now for a lot of us, and the main thing to understand is there's no reason to be afraid. We have a lot of different physical symptoms happening and spiritual experiences that have never occurred before, and it can feel really scary and overwhelming, and often many of us feel crazy. Like some of these things that we're going through don't make sense, and the things that should make sense don't. For instance, with the physical stuff, going to see doctors and having them look at you like you're crazy, or thinking that you're like a hypochondriac, and just those types of things, or just your friends. And so we started doing this channel with this in mind, with all of these different things that are happening. A lot of us do feel kind of like we're crazy. And so, but now, right now, the energy has intensified. We went through this like film at this new space, and it's really exciting. It's a beautiful place to be at. However, it has increased our ascension symptom experience. It's um, created new ones. The one that I just barely noticed is these weird dry patches on my body. I don't know. It's something that's new for me and weird. And it's on just before we had rashes, and the purging of all of a sudden having weird acne and stuff like that. And there's a lot to do with our skin right now. Being the largest organism in our body, I'm sure that makes sense. However, it's just one of those things that it's just as it's coming through and as it's happening, it's a little annoying. And so here we are now. We're doing this dry patches, and they're uncomfortable, unpleasant little experiences. They're very itchy. Hello, be beautiful. Welcome, paratrooper. Good to see you. Um, if anyone has any questions, by the way, then please go ahead and write it in the chat box. The stuff that's happening right now is we're in this beautiful space. There's actually, I wrote a couple of things down having to do with astrological anomalies and cool things. I mean, but one of the things that we all know is that we're moving into the full moon, the cold moon. Hello, Sandra. Welcome. Good to see you. um, Sandra also has a channel, by the way. It's really a great channel if anyone's interested. um, and so now we're in, like, for instance, yesterday Neptune ended its retrograde, so we're feeling a little bit more stability from that. But then on the 8th, the Mars, on the during the full moon experience, Mars, the Sun, and Earth and the Moon will briefly align in this really rare celestial event that's going to occur, and that's going to cause some stuff. Then we're already feeling it. We're already in this space of feeling the solstice energy. I remember thinking, not like almost a month ago now, waking up feeling like we were in the solstice. And every day since then, the energies of that have increased. So, Catherine, welcome. I think I said your name right. If I didn't, I apologize. Um, Welcome. Thank you for coming. There's also, before I forget, just because I love the meteor showers and stuff, the largest meteor shower of the year is coming. I think the peak is the 14th, but it's going between just December 6th and December 17th. So it's starting tomorrow technically. Um, and it's in the Gemini constellation. That's where the radiant comes from. So it should be really cool. That's usually like a midnight 2 a.m. when it's really at its peak, and there's like over like 120 at one at each hour for a while during the peak of that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So here we are. All of these different energies are moving, and there's more to it. And so as a result, we're having a lot of increased sensation of almost like a. It's not dizzy. I don't have a word for it. It's There's like a vertigo, lightheaded, dizziness. I know now it feels like what I expect to feel when energy is moving through me. And not bad or good. And often it's good though. Just knowing things are moving through and out. That's kind of that vibrational dizziness that I'm noticing, the disorientation almost. Um, Paratrooper asked, "Are you able to tell a bit about the new Earth? We are here. We are somewhere, or are we somewhere else? Light workers." That's actually a really good question. I have my own experience for that, and so My experience was watching and participating in sending this light to Earth from above for a while. We were using like we were breathing in the light and then like creating these balls of light, love balls, and sending them at the Earth and creating this experience of helping the Earth. And then it separated. It's really weird. Over a series of months or whatever, however long I was doing that, it started to separate, and it looked like the sloughing of a snake skin. It was really cool. And so then there was two spheres, but the old Earth, the snake skin part of the Earth, the separate orb, was a little bit smaller and less vibrant in color, as far as my perception at that space. I was in an astral experience. And the thing is, though, is that we're still kind of overlapping. We're still at this Vesica Pisces sort of experience with that. And so we're seeing and interacting with a lot of 3D old Earth. 3D is not the correct term for that. I keep getting suggested to say something different. Anyway, so because we're existing in both experiences, we're still going to hear about things. We're still participating in some way, but we're noticing more and more of these energies that are starting to feel like non-player characters and stuff like that. The separation and the movement away into wherever appropriate space we're going to be becomes more clear. The coolest and the most complicated trick to all of this now is that we're already on New Earth, is to allow ourselves to accept to see it. When we can, it's a lot different experience than we expect, and what we expect is presented before us. It's just part of this manifestation thing that we do, and whether manifestation in that way is considered a physical thing or not, I'm not sure. It's what parts are the illusion because we are creating that expectation of that image and that experience. I'm not sure. However, I do know the more that I exist and behave as if I am expecting it to look like a certain way, it will become that. I don't know if that makes any sense. That might have been too strange of a ramble, but and so just behave and just know that you, as if, and knowing that you're on this new experience. We can feel it too. Like that's the best part about it. That's kind of really why I looked into where we are now a few months ago, is that I started to really feel it. Like it feels when you go to those other places now, and there's the occasional like drop, and the drop feels very profound, energetically speaking, when there's like, whoa, all of a sudden it just feels denser or heavier. And that is a very temporary thing, but when it comes in, it feels like it's really bad. And however, what we're actually feeling most of those times, by the way, that we're using our empathic abilities, and we're actually experiencing people who are coming online or are waking up, and that is like their best day. So, that was once your best day feeling too. It's just we're up here now. We were once down here. So when we drop just a little bit, it feels a lot more intense than it actually is, and we have had more people join. Welcome. Hello, Mary Beth. Hello, Carmen. Trudy, hello, welcome. Catherine says, I have lots of purging in the sacral and root chakra. Yes, we were just talking about that on our Zoom meeting yesterday. I had a sporadic meditation that we did as a group yesterday. And so it wasn't really announced. It just happened. And so I did post it in the Telegram for anyone who is interested. And I will be editing that into a video to put on YouTube in the next day or two. But that was one of the conversations that was being, or topics that was being discussed, and a purging of it, like complete, like just this feeling of like this discomfort, but then noticing also when you're purging that there's this strong emotional experience, like almost a burst of what can feel like rage or remorse or mourning. It's really a strange sensation. And what that is those parasites leaving us. You're sensing and experiencing their experience, their emotion, what they're going through, and it's not easy to move on and to go to a different experience. So if you're feeling that, I found that it helps to send love to it, and it's not quite as tragic of a feeling. Plus, I feel like I'm assisting the energies. So thank you for bringing that up. And in that sacral chakra experience too, we're having a lot of the manifestation powers coming online online in a more extreme way. Meaning that manifestation powers are amplified, and the time in between is shortened. So it's like happening a lot faster than before. So that's really cool, and that's a really awesome experience for you to have. Congratulations. Paratrooper says, "Thank you for sharing your experience. Much appreciated. That sounds beautiful." Yeah, it was so pretty. The colors too, like seeing this new spectrum of color is very, very great task to try to describe, with words. It's just, how do you describe color to somebody? And it looks different. It's a different thing. The more vibrant, bright, beautiful. And the level of love, like that is when it changed, the shift was felt by people. We did it a while back, but I remember thinking, okay, now it's happening. And I think it was around Easter. It might have been last year that I'm like, okay, now what we did a long time ago is actually happening. Cool. Greetings, Pamela. This is my YouTube account. Love, Gareth. Okay. Good to see you, Gareth. Welcome. So as we go through all of these other, oh, by the way, before I forget, the cool part about the Gemini, I can never say it very correctly, the Gemini meteor shower, the Geminid meteor shower is a rainbow meteor shower. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that before, but you get, I think it's like, over 50% of it's white, shooting stars, but then you get like reds and blues and greens and all kinds of really cool colors, yellows. And so it's just, I don't know, the fact that, the white Buffalo Woman prophecies, the story of the white Buffalo Woman, the Hopi traditions, a lot of the prophecy that was discussed about that. And it just keeps going back to what we are always talking about. I find it fascinating throughout that whole prophecy. And one of those things is that we are rainbow warriors, that we're called that because we come from all different walks of life, all different experience, all different vibration, all different everything. And instead of fighting against one another as we had been doing, we turn to one another and we grow together. We honor Mother Earth, and we allow our heart chakra to fully open and to connect in a spiritual, energetic way. It's really cool. And so the fact that there's this rainbow meteor shower happening right now at this now moment, technically it's going to start in a couple of hours, but it'll peak on the 14th. I just find that really fitting that it all goes together that way. Hello, Stacy. Welcome. Good to see you. Mary Beth says, the twinkling colors in the grass makes me get giddy every morning. I love those things. I see them more in water and in the sky, in the air before me. But being able to acknowledge those, and they do have this immediate deep belly laugh kind of feeling to them. It's just, oh, it's so beautiful. Jeff, welcome. Hello. Good to see you. And that's one really important thing about all these different experiences that we're having is we have that ability to just define the energy before us. Like you can tell if it's there to assist you, whatever it's there for, and whatever their intention or background might be, I guess is the right word for that. And we know where they're at, so you know that if the energy is coming through, if it's good, or if we should not let it come through, and in those cases, you send love to it. We are the universe's lie detectors. So That's the interesting experience for that. So when you feel those giggly, giddy, joyful, and sometimes it's just, it feels like, what, that's a really ancient or wise elder energy, but it's still like really loving. It's even with that like authority kind of feeling to it almost. There's just still like that deep appreciation from a grandfather or something like that. Sandra says, I giggle joyfully every time I see the light beings. Yeah, they're so cool. There's all kinds that are coming up too. Like the cobweb ones I've talked about a bunch of times. I call them that. Someone else calls them creepy crawlies. And they're not creepy, by the way, but they're just these they're just this big, really. They're not very large. And they look kind of like a root system, but they're all like, so one's violet. I always try to, when I'm trying to say the word violet, I struggle because I'm trying not to say violent. It's one of those things, or they're red or they're orange or whatever color. And it's really, they're just really fun and playful and cute. And there's also these little orbs that come in, and they feel like giggly. They're obviously of like a very knowledgeable, mature group, but they just feel like play. I love them. All of these different energies that come through. There's the ones from the sun that have been coming down. When we started getting all those solar flares, I started to get to interact with them. I didn't really know what that was, but they were like little sun sprites or something, and just little guys. And they're just so fun, so giddy and excited to be here, and it's just contagious. I just want to play too, and that's the common theme. And that's like, one of the real points of all of the stuff that we're doing, is when we are in our highest joy, we're doing our mission, whatever it is that we're doing. Like if at that moment that means playing in the sand or making mud pies or drawing or writing or talking to somebody in particular, or whatever it is, the thing that is meant to be occurring at that time will be the thing that brings you the most joy. And not always a playful joy, that's my preferred type, but just, it's intrinsic value is just unexplainable. I don't know how else to describe it, but and then Stacy says, yeah, I love that feeling. Yeah, it does. It feels, they just kind of like come in and just remind you to smile, remind you to laugh, and remind you to play. And then we also are having these other things. Yeah, Trudy says, my new thing is to paint. Awesome. Like, great job. Yeah, whatever it is for you. It's so much fun to explore all these things instead of sitting around thinking I would be cool to have like a time loop so I can master the thing, whatever it is, and just do it now, and you'd be surprised. Most of us come with quite a large spectrum of talent. It's just finding the thing, so there are more of it's not even heart palpitations. It's just like a quickened heartbeat, almost like it feels giddy or not anxiety, more like excitement. There's a lot of that excitement energy, and it's not mine. I know that every once in a while, when there is one of the we're having these rapid auto healing. So we're healing ourselves in a very brief window of time. And when doing that, a lot of times our heart will pick up its beat for a bit. We'll also notice like we're breathing more quickly. Sometimes often for me anyway, there's heat noticed in the area that's being worked on or healing. Fluttering. Thank you, Stacy. Yeah, fluttering. This fluttering thing. And so sometimes it's to do with the healing. But the other times it's this excited energy. And we're not actually, I'm noticing that what we're doing is we're feeling the higher realms excitement and celebration, that this place that we've made it to already. And that's something else too, is that the excitement and surprise by how we've gotten here already, like it with an expectation that it would have taken more time for us to succeed as much as we have. And I think that I'm supposed to say that right now is to give reassurance that you're doing a great job. Just keep it up. Sometimes we do feel like we're trying to dig a hole into dry sand. It just keeps filling back up again, and it's just really frustrating, and you feel like you're not getting anywhere. However, you are. And the effects have made it so we're at this point right now when it wasn't expected to occur yet. So congratulations. Please keep it up. Be Beautiful says, yes, heart excitement and taking deep breaths. Yeah. And that's what that is that, oh, we're here. Okay. And then there's something else that's really interesting that's been occurring. I've been I had this experience quite a few years ago, interacting with this energy, with this spaceship that looked very much like a massive rock. And when I first saw it, it seemed like a small rock until I intuited with it. I don't know what's the right word. Connected with it. And then I noticed the sheer size of it and all the occupants. And it was quite a lot of people in there. Anyway, I'd never heard about this thing, but I knew, I saw it, I witnessed it, and I experienced it coming to be in the beginning, the first one to come, in audience to watch what we're doing here. And then fast forward a few years, now they're talking about this, that had happened back in 2017, but I never heard about it back then. Then now there's more of them. There are these rocks that they're like, well, I don't think that's really a rock. And I'm going to tell you right now that the experiences that I've had for quite a while, and I've known this was going to happen, is we are getting a lot of lovely, beautiful, helpful, caring, protective energies coming into our experience to be witness to this beautiful event, this beautiful thing that has never occurred before, ever. Not just in the history of humankind, but of existence. No species has ever ascended in the same lifetime before now. This is an experience that that all have wanted to be a part of. That's why so many of us raised our hand and volunteered. I'm sure of it. Like, this is the chance of a lifetime of whatever. And so I don't know what to say with a soul time. But so we're here now, and they're all just excited. And so we're feeling a lot of them. And for some of us, when we're not used to those energies, at first it kind of makes you feel like shaky inside. Not like shaky, but like you're noticing like your energies like moving weird or something like that. We're just learning to accept and to feel that energy with us, and so a lot of these beings are very old and beautiful, service to others oriented and all this stuff. It's just they feel different. So it's really cool. And so we're going to be feeling a lot more things right now. We're going to be noticing more things and seeing more things, not just with our physical eyes, but also having a lot of flashes of experiences. So that's really an interesting thing that's occurring right now. Renee says, in my inner head, sometimes I can hear like my skull is making a clicking noise. I feel like it's a setting of frequency. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know. Yeah, well, I'm having that too. I've been calling it popping, and I've noticed it to be specific to near to my ears, but I can't touch where it's at. So I agree with you; it's in the head, and that's been happening for a little while. And like at the same time, often it's not when the ears are ringing, but the ears are ringing almost all the time now these days. But it's also the sinus. I'm noticing sinus popping, clicking. I agree with you. Something's being assisted. It's something feels like it's going into alignment, because immediately after there's like this sensation of relief and balance, and it doesn't occur a lot for me. But that's something to. This is all stuff from off my experience, by the way. For anyone, I suggest strongly go ahead and go see your doctor. I'm not a doctor. Just have to let you know and get that out of the way. The reason that we have these conversations is so many of us at the same time are having these same symptoms. Like that part, you just, I can't find my mind around that obstacle of that truth. You know what I mean? And so a lot of us are having these at the same time across the globe. You know, we're talking to people all over the world, and they're all saying, me too, at the same time. So I just find that really cool and very reassuring. Mary Beth says, wonderful. Wondering if anyone has had to explain anything to their doctor. I haven't figured out how to answer my, I don't know how to say that specialist name, endocrinologist. When I see when I, when I see him next month, how my blood sugar is normal and I haven't. Um, yeah, I don't know either. Often my interactions with doctors are them looking at me skeptically. Um, I will occasionally. I don't go that often, but I do go, and it's just basic blood work. I'm not taking anything and all that kind of stuff, unless I really needed it. I would definitely consider it, but um, and they're usually looking at me like, you're fine. Why are you saying you have these problems? All of the results say you're fine, and marking you down almost as like a drug seeker or something, even though you're not filling any of their scripts. Um, I, I don't know, and there's still, there's an understanding with doctors, and they do and are trying to do their best. And they're once science and spirituality finally recombine the way that they are meant to be, when they fractured and separated the divine feminine and and the divine masculine, they also did that with science and spirituality, and all of the things that were considered uh, a subset of spirituality was included in this, like, um, you know just hoopla section over here where people just don't believe it, superstition and the like. And so a lot of truth got kind of misplaced in that way. Once everything recombines, just like the divine masculine and divine feminine have finally anchored again, and they're finally finding that balance again, so too will science and spirituality. But it's just a slow process. So having said all that, I don't have an answer for your question. If anyone else does, I just get used to them looking at me funny, and they'll usually, well, maybe take this medication, and sometimes I'll take the paper to make them feel better, and then I just throw it away. So, because I know that what if you're not okay though, to do what it is you need to do anyway. Gareth says, oh, I mean, JG Jago and G Gnomes says, heart fluttering, a very cool temperature in my third eye chakra, very cool temperature in most of my spine and all throughout my legs. Changes in diet, Buddha belly doesn't shift. The Buddha belly thing, man. So for those of you who don't have, this is a thing that's been going for a little while, where we're noticing like this. It's weird too. For me, I'm noticing that it's like I am extreme. It looks like I'm like way bloated or something, and I'm just like I'm gonna have a baby or something, and then all of a sudden I'm fine, like in a couple of days, and then it goes back to, it's really strange, and it's only been occurring recently, and so I felt into that, and I got I had already heard this before, but I'd forgotten that when an energy that is of lower vibration, and that doesn't mean bad exactly, just lower vibration than you, leaves your system, then when the light is trying to make its way, while the light is making its way in, before it finishes that process, whatever vacant space there is fills with air. And so a lot of that is actually air, at least in my experience. And so um, that's just something that I've found to assist it too, is to, when I'm in this, so go into a place of meditation, meaning lining up your chakras. You want to make sure that all of your chakras line up straight. And when we notice that we're feeling a little bit not connected or grounded, all you got to do is just stand up, really stand up and stand straight. A lot of us lean forward and slouch so much that we don't realize what we're doing is we're not able to ground all the way. So line up your chakras. When you breathe in through your nose, breathe in the light of God down through you. And then as you're doing that, send that light down to the areas that you're noticing the bloating and stuff like that occurring. And then when we exhale through our mouth, exhale anything that is not of that light. And again, that doesn't mean that it's bad. It's simply not that light. And so any other energy that's just kind of hanging out there, whatever, air, then just send it out through your breath. And then that actually does help me. But I'm noticing it feels like it's like a temporary fix, and so because it comes back, and I'm not following my practice regularly enough. So, do y'all eat gluten? That's an interesting point, Michelle. So when you do eat gluten, it usually gathers around your torso area. That's where the weight gain goes. If you have a high gluten diet, that's true. Stacy says, me too. Yeah, it's Gareth. Gareth says, yes, bloated at points of realization and knowingness, my nose will stream and run. Yep. Yeah, I have that too. My eyes will start to weep, and I'm not crying. I'm not even noticing a real connected to tears type emotion to it. I just start draining. It's interesting. Also, the third eye thing that you mentioned earlier, Gareth, I was thinking about. I've been having this thing for a while that I've talked about a few times, but I get colored. Like right here, it kind of looks like it now a little bit, but when I tune in and start to get channeling, usually it lights up really pink right there. And I'll also notice like a line that appears right here that looks kind of like I've just been the passenger for a long time, so the sun's only coming on this side or something like that. But it's there a little bit, and that's been happening more and more. It's just really is. And then the shape of this thing will change. Sometimes it's perfectly an eye shape. Sometimes it moves and turns into. They're always geometric, these shapes. So it's just very fascinating. And I'm noticing it just getting really dry. I'm having these weird dry patches everywhere, I guess. So also the clicking. There was a thing about clicking earlier, and I just kind of got something about that clicking. A lot of us are breaking through the many have throughout this life collected stuff, debris in our body that have kind of gotten on top of or near to certain organs or things, and we're moving through those things right now. And as we're doing that, there's a lot of times an auditory sensation. You can actually hear some kind of sound associated with that. And so what I just heard to answer back was that pineal gland, um, there's a calcification on the pineal gland for a lot of individuals, leading up to their awakening. That's just how it works. And it's easy to remove it in meditation. Again, I remember doing it, and I was being guided by my spirit guide at that time, and I was just really kind of didn't really know. It was uncomfortable because it was such a strange thing. But you just watch the light swirl to it, fill it, encompass it, and then as it does, it kind of penetrates, and you watch the shell of it kind of fall all the way through and off. And what I did at that time, I was like, well, what do I do with all this crap now? And so I redirected it to my intestines, so it would move through and out. And then within a very short time, I was in the bathroom. It was a very bizarre experience. So that's something to think about too. If whether or not you're hearing a popping, to let yourself clear your pineal gland. I always it's a difficult word for me as well. Yeah, the tree pose. Stacey says, stand and be like a tree. Yeah, and when we do that, we're grounding. Whether we realize what we're doing exactly, and in that grounding, to amplify that experience, I will often visualize roots growing from the bottoms of my feet and just down into the soil, and even to hear what the soil sounds like when it's shifting, to hear like the worms moving through the soil beside me and things like that. When I do that, I'm able to ground and just be good again. So, and that really helps us. If you are in a place where it's too cold to go out, there's too much snow on the ground to go out barefoot to connect with Mother Earth, I suggest bringing dirt in the house like we do. We're in the winter right now here too, and as a result, we bring soil in and play with it with your hands for about 10 minutes every day, or putting your feet on top of it for 5 minutes a day. I tend to do it like every other day. Um, and that help with the ionization process, particularly when we're having a lot of solar flares. It helps with the solar flares. If you're not near to a body of salty water, you can also put some salt in your bath and fill it up halfway. That helps during the solar flare stuff and kind of lighten some of the ascension symptoms. Not only that, though, it's also there's these minerals that we get regularly throughout our days that we don't get in the winter when we're not connecting with soil. So doing that, we also just, I don't know. I started to do it many years ago, and I noticed I used to have really difficult seasonal depression. And as soon as I started doing that, I was fine. And I didn't really put it all together. I just knew that when I prepared for gardening way too early, which I started to do because I, was depressed, um, it made me feel better, and I didn't have seasonal depression anymore. And I haven't had it since. So that's a regular habit that we use that really assists us. Um, Paratrooper says, gain weight too. Gluten sometimes. I search for the products without it. Already live vegan. Awesome. A lot of us have changed our diet dramatically. I was full on carnivore coming on. Like that was, often I would just create protein. Tonight we're just having meat. We're just having chicken or whatever, because that's to where I am now. One thing at a time. I removed parts of meat from my diet. It was one thing at a time, and before I knew it, all of a sudden, I was at that time a vegetarian. I was just eating eggs, and then it's just increased and increased, and not just when it comes to like that kind of a thing, but looking at where the food came from too. Doing my best to do everything from scratch. Really, it can be really hard, and I understand that. And so there are other ways around it. I found for myself that I had a poisoning experience many years ago, and I started to notice I was feeling the same symptoms that I did when I was being poisoned. And then when I omitted foods that were stored in cans, in metal or tin cans, all of a sudden I was better. Like I was better again. And so I do my best to not use things that are in cans, but sometimes you can't avoid it, and so what I'm saying is each one of us is different. And we are in this time where these doctors are saying that there is this massive influx of people with different types of food allergies, and like just all of a sudden, and we can call it allergies, sure. When our body's no longer in harmony with the things that we put in it, that's an allergy. And so we're having a lot of food allergies, a lot of different types of things, noticing that when things aren't pure and water isn't fully clean, they're just things that are a little bit a place to adjust your life a little bit as they go through. So after a few years, I am a vegan. I don't eat processed food. When I do, it goes through me rapidly. And it just happened over a period of time. However, this summer, a bunch of us all of a sudden had a craving for meat. And most of us honored our body and did that. There was even somebody, I believe, was like 46 years as a vegan and wanted a hamburger and went out and had a hamburger. Though some of the individuals chose to be vegans and originally for ethical reasons. So that was difficult for a lot of people. And so that was kind of a thing. But just honoring your body. Our bodies are telling us what to do, and they have forever. I know I say this all the time, but I for the longest time didn't listen, and as a result, it's still taking me time learning the vocabulary, the way that my body communicates with me, and listen to it for what it is instead of that means I need to take this thing or don't take that thing, or I don't need to put medication in my body. in order to make it so I can eat fast food, basically. But so we have some other comments that I've missed up here. Alzi, it's chem attacks on light workers across the board. There's definitely chemicals in things that aren't the highest quality. I agree. Stacy says, I hear a pop, like a magnetic pop. Yeah. Where do you hear the pop at? Like she says, oh, so you're talking about inside your pineal gland from our earlier conversation. Mary Beth says, I've had a crack in my forehead for 2 years. Recently, a second one appeared, and they come down in a V. The point is at my third eye. So glad to know I'm not alone, Pamela. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this whole thing is just, this whole space is really bizarre. And also a lot of headaches. And I've been calling them the third eyes headaches. That's not how I say it. the three-eyed headaches. There we go. It's this space where all of the eyes, almost like in a triangle, there's this headache, this discomfort that's occurring. There's two different kinds. There's this dull one that kind of like fades in and fades out, and it can last for 20-30 minutes, but mostly out. And then there's this other one. It's the same place. That's what's really interesting. But and then the other one is this really intense pain that's so brief and so fleeting, though it's intense. Like you could call it a migraine if it wasn't for the fact that it was such a short time. And it's there right now. Not too long ago, I was having one that would be right here, and I could feel the energy move through and out. Like I felt it go out, and it was just, and so I was okay, and I'm fine. I'm perfectly healthy. I know that, and so it's just something that's occurring. So it's just kind of interesting. Paula Stock, sleeping on or standing on earthing mats works well also for earthing. Yes, there's a lot of cool technology out there too. And there's someone was talking about grounding their bed. They had a metallic bed frame, and so I don't have any way of guiding you to be safe. So if you're going to do anything, obviously, look it up and be safe. But that was really fascinating. Greetings from Cleveland, Ohio, Terry. Welcome. And Margaret's from Australia. Aqua Moon says, yeah, I started purging 4 years ago. Every day is closer to vegan. Anyone else with crystalline skin? That's interesting. I'd like to hear more about crystalline skin. I noticed that my skin has changed dramatically over the course of several years, really, but particularly over the past year or two. Everything's gone into hyperdrive. The beginning of this awakening experience for me was when I had my first near-death experience when I was 4. And as a result of that, a lot of people weren't talking about these things. A lot of people weren't, there weren't services available and conversations that could be had. This stuff you didn't really talk to anybody about. And so it's really fun hearing some of these things that, and I'm really happy that that's occurring. As now we're in this space, I'm watching it happen rapidly. People are undergoing change in a series of weeks that would have been years before, and as a result, it does feel like you're on a roller coaster sometimes. Paratrooper says, yes, lactose intolerance since birth. Yeah, and there's other types of allergies that we don't even realize that we have. Allergy, again, it's something that's not harmonious for our body, and that's okay. It doesn't mean anything. Simply, that's not really great for your body. And that will change, just like cravings, for instance, our body's craving certain things that it really needs at different times. And so, there's a fun little test that I've been doing because I'm noticing a lot more static electricity and experience in the energy of my hands. When I'm at the store, I'll just reach to something that I'm going to purchase, and my body will let me know if it doesn't want it by shocking. I'm getting static electricity from the thing. It feels like it's like no. And, it's been funny is I've had that happen a few different times in the produce section and been like really surprised by it. That's where it really, okay, this is really my body doing this. And then come to find out, a week or so later that there was this mass recall because that was like tarnished food or something like that. So it just, so yeah, that's something that you can do. Another thing is you can just stand before something and ask your body if it wants it. If it wants it, it will lean toward it. If it doesn't want it, it will lean away from it. You can also do that with other questions. Asking yourself is surprising how many answers you really have that you don't realize are there, that are accessible by doing that type of thing. Some people use like the pendulum, or you could use your body. And standing up is the most easy to do, I feel, for me, but I'm sure you could probably do it sitting as well. But first, just get yourself in a straight line and then ask yourself a question. And if it leans forward, the answer is yes. And it doesn't have to be that dramatic. You'll just notice the whatever direction. So it's kind of fun. Aquamoon says, oh wait, hold on. I skipped something, I think. Hello, well-being navigator. Welcome. Stacy says, yeah, the pineal gland pop. Yep, yep. That's okay. I autocorrect, man. Well-being navigator says, been getting weird heart sensations. I'm quite healthy, and just and just breathe into it and acknowledge it. Yeah, we were just talking about that, and that has been like, there's a couple of different things. Oh, thank you, Carmen. Are you leaving? It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. He says, I love you, Pamela. Thank you for making time doing live chat. Thank you. I'm glad you're able to come. So part of it is this excited celebration energy that we're feeling. There's a lot more beings around our planet, on our planet, here to be witness to this amazing historical event that's occurring right now, and just to be a part of it. Not just to witness it, but all of whatever we do is affecting all of these energies all the way across the board. So they're invested too. And so we're feeling a lot of that. And then we're also having this new thing. It's really crazy, but it's rapid auto healing. And you with intention, it's a little more easy to have happen. However, I noticed doing it on accident a few times, almost asleep, and just kind of calming myself down and getting ready to go to sleep and being in bed, and then thinking to myself, that part of me hurts, or that part of me is, what's up with that? And not even really focused on healing it. All of a sudden healing started to occur, and so this fluttering of the heart would happen, noticing increased breath rate. Also, it had to do with my arm at that time. So it was all of a sudden my arm was just heated up, very, very hot. And it felt a little bit concerning. And that's like the biggest thing about all this stuff, is that when do we know it's something that's like a big deal that we should go see a doctor, and not? I don't have an answer for you, except I can say what I do for myself. And if I have any question, it's a good idea to see a doctor, and so, but this rapid healing that's occurring is happening so fast that by the time that you're considering going to see a doctor, it's gone, and you're better, and that thing is healed. So Barbara says, feet hurt, souls. Yes. Okay, the feet thing. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Barbara. She says, sorry, I should finish what she wrote. Feet hurt, soles, arches, bunions. There's been this weird thing occurring. It's like, and a lot of us have been talking about it too. When we wake up, especially, it's the most noticeable. It feels as if we've been walking around barefoot on concrete, on hard surface for hours and hours and hours, like all night long while we were sleeping. Just really weird. And eventually it goes away. And then it comes back again the next day. This is not as a result of this is not a common experience. This is not something that I've done something the day before to explain it. And it's not just me, it's also children. A lot of people are talking about this. I do know I feel immediately better when I put my feet on the dirt. I can try to explain why. I just know that works. So that's something that they to consider. um, and the need to ground. The thing is, a lot of us are really great in the upper four chakras. Like, we really rock that place. Good job. However, those there are those three lower chakras that also need to be addressed. And when we don't address those, we notice more disharmony in our lower body. There's areas and things. And often our feet are, like, mentally connected, emotionally connected to our root chakra, when it's not actually in your feet. But as we're doing that too, just to bring up the fact that there's also all these other chakras that are activating. And many of us don't always know that. We don't always realize that we have, like, there are 144 chakras in my, like, direct field. And then we have chakras for each one of our organs. We have chakras for each one of our joints. We have chakras in our ears and we have them everywhere. The feet and the hands ones have started to be really big lately, and so that's very likely what that's occurring for you. That's what was happening to me. But I noticed immediately when I put them in soil, they were better. Another solution is Epsom salt baths, or just a cloth with Epsom salt water or something on it. That would assist you in experience like that. My new favorite is the pink Himalayan Epsom salt. I didn't know they made that. I was like, yeah, yeah. And that just, then you get to have a love bath. Um, let's see. I'm gonna have to figure out how to keep this from moving so I can keep where I'm at. Margaret says, Aqua Moon, yes, my skin is becoming crystalline. For at least 8 months, when going to bed, my body vibrates really hard. No one in my bed with me. Yeah, that vibrating thing is alarming at first. Like, I didn't know what I had no idea what was going on. Especially at 3 a.m. Especially at 3 a.m. We can also hear the Taos hum at 3 a.m. But there's this new buzzing now. It sounds almost electronic, mechanic. I don't know how to explain it. It seems artificial. So I don't know what that is, and it's kind of annoying. But that's really cool to hear about the skin. I know my skin has been changing, and that's something else too. We go through every 7 years. We have a reskinning that occurs. Our body loses the layers of skin, and like, gets new skin. However, a lot of us are having that same experience for several years in a row, and I am right now. I'm like on year number 2. Just the over need to exfoliate and stuff. It's really strange, and it makes sense. The more light body we become, the more the outside layers and the stuff that we're pushing out needs to be moved away. So we're having a lot of purging stuff. Need for a huge increase in water, like a crazy thirst. Allowing yourself to honor your body, and that is like the best way to do it. Electric current traveling on parts of my spine, wrist, up my mid arm, says Margaret. Yeah, the electricity. And then also, so those of us who do have that electricity thing, I've noticed that we can actually ask technology to turn on or off. It's kind of fun to play with. But Paratrooper says, with the crystalline body, that would be funny in bed with a partner. Like, your nose is a light switch. That's pretty funny. Stacy says, do you have any updates, messages, downloads about the upcoming full moon and winter solstice, please, Pamela? Good question, Stacy. So we are bringing in this new light, and it's exciting. It's really a cool thing. There's nothing to be alarmed or worried about at all. Though it feels like the excitement, the morning of Christmas kind of feeling, waiting for the parents to get up, or like that close kind of feeling. And as that's occurring, the best thing that we could do for ourselves is to when you can, take as many breaks as you can. What I mean by breaks is, be with yourself. Just recollect. The more that we can allow ourselves to be centered and balanced, as we can in any moment, the easier these things are going to be for us. They're all going to happen anyway. Like, they're if you're in the middle of a large Christmas party, you're not going to miss the window, or anything like that. But it will help you if you focus on grounding, taking that time in a busy work situation environment. We bathroom stalls are really useful for that. You know, I got to go take a bathroom break. Now I'm in the stall. I'm going to take 2 to 5 minutes, and I'm simply just going to center myself, bring in that light, and accept that light to fill through me. And you'll be surprised how that changes the experience. Those are basically meditations, and it doesn't really take very long at all. The more that you can do that, the more that when these experiences are coming through, they're going to be easier to do, and they're going to be more understood. And the other thing that I can say to you is to reach out to others like you. If you haven't done so already, join our Telegram group, come to some of our Zoom meetings. We're going to have a Zoom meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I haven't made a post yet. I apologize. I'll put that up in my community section when this video is over. Connecting with others like us, and it doesn't have to be through our group or anything like that, just like you're doing here, talking to each other. Connect, and it sounds like I'm saying two opposite things at the same time. Get away from people and talk to people. What I'm saying is take those moments to yourself, and also reach out and connect to those who are experiencing the same things that you are. One of the most difficult things in this experience is to believe our own experience is true. That's, am I crazy? Am I making this up? Is this, and having others who are telling your story without you having said anything, like telling you an identical example of what you were going through or just had gone through, like that washes away all of that overpowering experience, and then power is shifted back to empowering. And that's what power is truly meant to be. It's meant to be empowering. So a person, an individual, an energy who is powerful is an individual who shares that power to empower the other. There is no need for an intermediary. There is no need for someone to tell you what God is saying to you. Like, you don't need that. You can feel it. You know it. And it's just allowing yourself to get that information, allowing yourself to accept what's coming through for you. And something that's useful in that way is to use a book. Get a notebook, pen, pencil, and it's called automated writing. And you just start writing. You can ask a question, you can whatever. And then you just don't pay attention to like spelling or grammar or anything like that. And as you start to write, you'll notice that you're not the one writing. The messages that are coming through are profound and divinely inspired. And you can go back and you can get your answers to your questions, and you can find that secret solution you've been looking for. So I say all of this because we are going to get a big flux. It's a big flux, and it's cool. It's really neat. And it's an assist of light. As this assist of light comes through, it's already coming through and making a lot of us feel kind of like joggy woggly. As that's happening, just know that you're okay, and you're not alone. Center yourself, drink water. If you don't feel the need to, and that you can do it responsibly for your body's health. If you don't feel the need to eat, then don't. If you do feel the need to eat, then do. I'm noticing a lot more unplanned fasting occurring in my experience. Skipping a meal here and there turns into several meals sometimes. And it's always in a perfect alignment for an occurrence of an upgrade. Always. Historically, in these monasteries and different places, people, before going through a spiritual rite of passage or event, would fast for at least 24 hours before. But whatever's correct for you, what I'm saying is listen to your body. And so I'm noticing myself fasting right now. And I know that means that something cool is going to happen for me in this window too. So I don't know if that was good, well enough explained, but just allow yourself to hear what your body's telling you to do, and try to give yourself the time to yourself enough to accept that energy as it comes down through you. Um, this is the best Ascension Symptoms channel. I appreciate the consistency. Thank you, A. Thank you very much. And I want to say thank you for all the subscribers. We've gone up to 1.8K, and that is so amazing. Like, I am so honored to have so many people that find use in what we're producing here. And I just thank you all for being part of this experience with me. It's been an honor. I had no idea what was going to happen, but I didn't. I'm just following the ride too. I'm being get guided by all of this stuff. So, um, if any of you want to join our community, I put the Telegram link in this description of this channel. You're welcome to join. There's people from all over the planet that are in there, so there's always somebody awake, which is really helpful. And then also we have our Zoom meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope that you can join. I thank you all for coming. Carmen says, yes, my feet hurt, and also like someone pinching my pinky toe. I had the same thing with a different toe though. That was really bizarre. Like that was just kind of weird feeling. I didn't really understand what the heck was happening. Thank you for saying that. Um, bloating occurs. Desert Dweller says, bloating occurs when you are mentally put out by a situation you're dealing with, feeling an overburden and holding on to that negative emotion. Awesome. Thank you for that insight. Very helpful. Aquaman says, people think I have glitter on. That is so cool. That is cool. And Barbara asks, how do you recommend clearing those lower chakras? Opening them is the way to clear them. It's that we don't actively open them. I'm gonna post that meditation in a couple of days, and that we actually do the chakras in that meditation. So look for that. But I'm gonna suggest it to explain it really quickly right now. Is that when you're lined up? So again, make sure that your spine is lined up. Watch each one of your chakras in a row. Often, it's easier to start with your top chakra. So that's what I would suggest. And then, so just and as you do that, watch. You're just doing the 7 right now. You're not doing the outside ones of it. Um, and as you do that, witness in your mind's eye the light of that chakra becoming bright. Just like someone turned on the switch, and then do the next one and the next one, all the way down. And as you're doing that, you're also breathing in the light of God down through that initial chakra. So you're pulling it through, and it's really cool. It's this cyclical energy. Um, and watch it go all the way down. As it does, some of us don't have profound experiences right away, and some of us do. We'll notice our chakras actually rotating in certain ways or doing certain kinds of movements. Some of us have also, during opening of a chakra that hasn't been opened before, they'll notice that part of their body vibrating kind of aggressively. And so if your root chakra has been closed, when I opened my root chakra, I had it was difficult to do things in public for a little bit because my pelvis was vibrating. But and so anyway, there's a lot of things that occur. So just know that you're okay, and I will post that meditation again. I haven't done any editing. It's just what we had done in the Zoom meeting was I got permission from everyone, and I recorded it with the audio only on my phone. And then I just have that raw footage. So I'll go back and I'll make some pretty pictures in the background and post that in the next day or so. So I hope that helps. And thank you all for being here. I need to go. I will be back on next Monday at the same time. I hope to see you all there. And also, again, you're welcome to join our Zoom meeting either tomorrow or on Friday. Friday will be at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you all. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.